The Mississippi River roared like a beast unchained in 1873, its muddy waters swallowing the Louisiana lowlands, ripping homes from their moorings, and leaving a trail of devastation under a leaden sky. Penelope Foster clung to a splintered fence post, her cotton dress heavy with floodwater, her auburn hair plastered to her face, ribs screaming with each breath as the current battered her. Her family's wagon had vanished hours ago, her father, mother, and brothers fleeing in panic, abandoning her at 20 to the mercy of the flood. "Help!" she screamed, voice lost in the torrent's howl, her heart breaking with betrayal. How could they leave her, their own blood? Shock gripped her as she slipped, fingers clawing at the wood, blood seeping from a gash on her forehead. Then, hoofbeats cut through the pounding rain, a lone cowboy, Griffin Hayes, astride a soaked stallion, his hat low against the storm, gray eyes piercing the chaos. He spotted her, a drenched figure against the wreckage, and spurred forward, his duster flapping like dark wings. Curiosity sparked through her fear. Why did his gaze hold resolve, not the indifference of a passerby? Would he risk the flood to save a stranger? Griffin leaped into the churning water, his strong arms pulling her free from the post, her body pressed against his broad chest, his warmth cutting through the bone-deep chill. "Hold on, miss," he growled, voice rough but steady, tying a rope around her waist to haul her to his horse. Twist, a crack split the air, a massive tree, uprooted by the flood, hurtled toward them through the murky water. Griffin dove, shielding her with his body, debris grazing his shoulder, blood mixing with rain as he grunted in pain. Suspense coiled tight. Would this be his end, saving a woman he didn't know? They scrambled onto his horse, Penelope clinging to his waist, her cheek pressed against his soaked shirt, feeling the steady thump of his heartbeat, a flicker of desire stirring despite the cold and fear. They galloped to higher ground, the flood's roar fading behind them, but the storm still raged, lightning illuminating the rugged lines of his face. Night fell, the rain easing to a drizzle as Griffin led her to a shallow cave, sparking a fire with flint and tinder, its glow dancing on his rugged features, square jaw, faint scars from trail fights, eyes carrying the weight of a widower's grief. He offered her a wool blanket, noticing her shiver, and shared strips of jerky, their fingers brushing, sending an electric jolt through her. Penelope poured out her story, her father's greed for new land in the west, his dismissal of her as dead weight when the flood struck, her brothers following his lead. Griffin listened, his voice low as he shared his own loss, wife and infant son taken by fever 2 years prior, leaving him a drifter with a hollow heart. Their shared pain wove a silent bond. He held her close, mindful of her bruises, his lips brushing hers in a tentative kiss, soft yet searing, her body yielding despite the ache in her ribs, soft moans escaping as his hands traced her arms, igniting a warmth she'd never known. "I'll keep you safe," he vowed, his heart-touching words sparking hope in her battered soul. But a distant shout pierced the night, looters scavenging the flood's wreckage? He grabbed his rifle, standing guard at the cave's mouth, leaving her breathless, yearning for his touch. Dawn broke, the floodwaters receding, revealing a scarred landscape of mud and debris. Griffin checked her for injuries, his touch gentle, cleaning the gash on her forehead with a damp cloth, sparking warmth in her veins. He taught her to ride his spare horse, his calloused hands guiding hers on the reins, their closeness charged with unspoken electricity. Twist, a child's cry echoed from nearby wreckage, a boy trapped under a collapsed barn. Griffin risked the unstable ground, pulling the boy free, but a beam shifted, pinning his leg. Penelope dug frantically, her hands bleeding, freeing him, their eyes locking in gratitude, his hand squeezing hers. Small suspense crept in, hoofbeats approached. Was it her family, seeking redemption, or bandits hunting survivors? It was a lone drifter, offering news of a nearby settlement rebuilding. They rode on, Penelope's heart tethered to Griffin's quiet strength, her body brushing his as they moved. They reached a battered town, survivors hammering new roofs, their faces weary but determined. Griffin joined the men raising barns, his muscles flexing under his shirt, while Penelope helped cook meals for workers, their teamwork seamless, stolen glances lingering, charged with promise. Twist, a locket fell from his pack, his late wife's, her face eerily like Penelope's, sparking a pang of jealousy. He burned it in the fire, whispering, "You're my future now." Their kiss was fervent, bodies pressing in a hayloft, clothes shedding in a frenzy, love making hot and urgent, her gasps peaking in blissful release, heart-touching whispers binding their souls. Suspense tightened, rumors spread of her family nearby, seeking her. Reunion, or revenge for defying their abandonment? Weeks blended into a rhythm of rebuilding. Penelope, now called Sage by Griffin for her quiet wisdom, learned to mend fences, her spirit blooming like wildflowers after rain. They built a small cabin, their nights passionate, his lips trailing fire down her neck, breasts, lower, her cries echoing through the wooden walls, their union mind-blowing, sealing unshakable trust. Twist, a letter arrived, her father's, begging forgiveness, claiming the flood's panic drove their flight. Lies to lure her back? Griffin held her as she wept, their embrace fierce, bodies fusing in raw need, heart-touching vows of loyalty whispered in the dark. Small suspense lingered, fresh tracks circled their land, looters, or her kin plotting. Griffin armed himself, Sage ready beside him with a borrowed rifle. Summer brought hard labor, planting crops side by side, their love deepening in stolen moments. Kisses under sprawling oaks, bodies entwining in golden fields, pleasure shattering them in unison, her gasps heart-touching under the sun. Twist, a flood survivor recognized Sage, revealing her father's dark scheme, planning to sell her to a wealthy miner for land rights, abandoning her when the deal collapsed in the flood. The betrayal cut deep, Griffin's arms anchored her, their love-making desperate, his touch worshipping her curves, her responses guiding him to ecstasy, heart-touching whispers grounding her. Suspense mounted, a stranger watched from a distant ridge, her father's hired man, spying for a second chance at profit? Autumn harvest filled their barn, Sage's strength shining, her laughter filling their home like music. Griffin proposed under a starlit sky, slipping a ring carved from cedar onto her finger, their union slow and sensual, his hands mapping every curve, her moans heart-touching, peaks profound and lingering. Twist. Her father appeared at dawn, demanding she return, offering wealth stolen from her mother's dowry. Sage refused, choosing Griffin, her voice steady. Battle loomed, his men attacked, torches blazing, aiming to drag her back. Griffin and Sage fought side by side, her shot felling a thug, his knife saving her from another. Twist, her father confessed in the chaos, he'd sold her mother, too, now dead from grief. The heart-wrenching truth hit like a storm, their victory embrace was hot, life-affirming, bodies crashing in relief, love sealing their survival. Suspense lingered, a marshal rode in days later, questioning the fight, would they face charges for defending their home? Winter snows blanketed their ranch, their love a roaring fire, nights filled with tender explorations, his fingers tracing her, her gasps guiding him to new heights of pleasure, climaxes profound and soul-deep. Twist, Sage discovered she was pregnant, joy mingling with fear, her father's reach lingering in rumors of hired guns. Griffin vowed protection, their embrace passionate, heart-touching under furs, sealing their future. Small suspense crept in, fresh tracks in the snow, threat, or a lost traveler. They fortified the cabin, Sage fierce beside him, rifle steady. Spring brought their daughter's birth, her eyes like Sage's, hair like Griffin's, a bridge of hope. Twist, a flood survivor's tale revealed Sage's mother lived, rescued by a wandering preacher, now settled nearby. Their reunion brought tears, Griffin's support unwavering, their love-making fervent, sealing their new family in heated bliss. Years flowed, their ranch thriving, children running free, passion undimmed, nights of mind-blowing intimacy under starlit skies. Final twist, her father's will, delivered by the marshal, left stolen land, which they used to shelter flood orphans, turning betrayal into hope. Their love, hot, romantic, profoundly heart-touching, shone eternal under frontier skies, a legend of redemption and unbreakable bonds.